Hello, my name's Gareth Atkins and I'm Director of Studies here at Queen's College, Cambridge in History, History and Politics and History and Modern Languages. This is a great place to study history. In this video, I'm going to try and explain why. First, the college itself. Many parts of it are ancient. To stand in the middle of Old Court is to get something of the feel of a medieval college. There's a tower, there's gates, there's a chapel, there's a sundial, there's coats of arms, that sort of thing. Down one side of the court is the old library, which contains books and objects going back to the foundation of the college in the 15th century. The famous 16th century humanist scholar Erasmus was a professor at Cambridge and lived here for several years. But you don't have to look too closely to find marks of change, the revealing little clues that all historians should be looking out for. You might, for instance, notice from the small doorways and think how short medieval people were. You might spot changing priorities as well. What was once the chapel is now a modern library. The people here are diverse and different as well. They come to study from right across the world. History at Queen's is a large subject. We usually admit about 10 people a year to study the 3 different degrees. And it's also a friendly one. The Erasmus Society, the Student History Society, runs talks and events that help students in different years get to know each other and talk about history. We have a real value here of trying to make people feel part of a community, and that includes everyone from undergraduates to postgraduates pursuing research to the fellows. Those are the people who teach and look after the students here. And there are also classes in college about how to do history, skills training that will help you find your feet and help you begin to realise what it's like to study history at university level. What do we look for in applicants? One of the main things is reading. Although you'll spend time here in lectures and seminars and in supervisions, the vast amount of your time in a history degree is going to be spent reading. So when we read a personal statement, one of the main things we're going to be looking at is what you've read. What sort of reading? Well, the simple answer is anything, everything. Anything that shows an interest that goes beyond textbooks, beyond what you've been learning about in school or college. Nothing's off limits. We're interested in what you're interested in. So this could be reading that's reading around your school or college topics, biographies of figures you're interested in, wider reading, or it might be something completely different, a local history project, family history, or any particular interest at all, witches or architecture or military history, slavery, the suffragettes. We want you to talk about what you've been reading, and you can expect us to ask about this in your interviews. But we're also interested in how you read. So in doing it, you might want to pose yourself a few questions, the sorts of questions that historians should be asking about things that they read. What does this book argue? Who is it arguing with? What sources does it use? What do they tell you? What did the author miss out? Was it straightforward, or were there things about this book that challenged you? Were you convinced by it? So we want you to be critical readers. We want you to think about what you're reading rather than just reading it. And these are the sorts of questions we might end up asking you in the interview. And they're also the sorts of questions we might well pose when we talk about the written work you also submit as part of the application process. Why did you decide to argue it this way? Well, how would you do things differently if you had a chance to do it again? What bits of it might have to change if we added in new information or new ideas? Overall, your application should be like an academic sales pitch. What fits you for this course? What are the skills, interests, and attributes that make you a good historian? And of course, you all know that historians like nothing more than evidence. So try to provide us with evidence that will enable us to build a picture of you and to build a picture of you that shows you to be a good historian. Now, to find out what it's like to study here, the best place to look, I think, is the History Faculty website. There you're going to find sample lectures, student perspectives, guides to the different course structures and the options within them, practice exercises as well to get you thinking like a historian. It's a large faculty, so there are always lots of options. In European history, we run from ancient Greece to the present day. In British history, we run from the Romans to the present day. We also cover American history, world history, and have a particularly strong tradition of the history of political thought. Students arriving here from autumn 2022 onwards are going to be coming at an exciting time. The history degree is being redesigned, and there'll be a wide range of brand new options. In the first year, you'll widen your historical knowledge by choosing 2 survey options from a slate of choices. You'll learn about the craft of history through sources and skills papers. And in college classes on great history books and debates about them, you'll focus on how historians have thought and written about the past. Now, of course, there'll be fresh choices to make for your second and third year, but these 3 elements that you will have started with, historical knowledge, the craft of history, and historical thinking, will be with you throughout all 3 years. As of June 2021, these are not yet up on the website, but they will be soon, so do check regularly for updates. Those studying for the joint degrees will obviously not take all of the same options that those studying the history degree will, but they too will be picking from these papers for history options, which they'll study alongside the politics and language papers as well. And again, there are more details of how this works, the choices that might face you on the website. The resources for doing that here are very rich indeed. Queen's has a well-stocked college library. 5 or 10 minutes walk away is the Seeley Historical Library, the Library of the History Faculty in Cambridge, which is also the biggest dedicated history library in the country. The University Library, meanwhile, also pretty close by, is a copyright library. That means that it's entitled to a free copy of every book published in the United Kingdom in any given year. And the fact that it gets those books means that frees up its budget to invest in overseas and foreign language collections, which are also very good there. So this is a really amazing resource to have almost on your doorstep. Beyond this, there's a very wide range of electronic resources and ebooks that of course you can access here or at home or anywhere you might happen to be in the world when you're studying your course. This has been very useful, as you can imagine, during this last coronavirus hit year. So all in all, this has given you a brief snapshot of Queen's College, of what we look for in applicants and of what studying at Cambridge might look like. But it is just a snapshot. So please do attend the online open days. Please do visit us if you can, as and when it's permitted. Please do check out our website and the History Faculty website. And of course, please send us any questions. If you have questions about anything I've said or anything I haven't said, please do send an email. Please do drop us a line on social media. We really look forward to hearing from you.